Hey K-popers, and welcome back to Hallyu. Today we're going to be talking about Infinite, a boy group whose story is terrifying, rewarding, and had huge implications for a ton of groups that we know and love today. We'll start by talking about how Infinite spent their pre-debut and debut year, and look at the existential crisis that they found themselves in quickly after debut. Then we'll go over how they triumphed in the face of disbandment to find huge success, and how that led to them becoming superstars in K-pop. And finally, we'll bring it all together to understand how the group's hard work forever changed the face of Woollim Entertainment and K-pop. Before we get started, a quick thank you to Hallyu's honorary producers. If you want to be on this list and show off your bias group to everyone watching, you can support my work on Patreon. Patrons also have a say in lots of videos before they're released, so if you want to leave your mark on Hallyu, come join us over on Patreon. So without further ado, let's dive into the wild story of boy group Infinite. Infinite actually had its start with some pretty cool and unique pre-debut activities. 5 of the members, Sungkyu, Woohyun, Sungyul L, and Sungjong, worked with Epic High on an inspirational song meant for athletes at the Vancouver 2010 Winter Olympics. 4 of the members also appeared in the music video for Epic High's song Run, and Hoya and Dongwoo also were backup dancers on music shows before debuting in Infinite. And their pre-debut activities didn't end there. On April 12, 2010, they had a reality show called You Are My Oppa, which featured Epic High and GA, who would go on to debut in Lovelyz 4 years later. At last, Infinite debuted with 7 members on June 9, 2010 with their EP First Invasion and its title track Come Back Again. Infinite would actually go on to promote a second song off of this album as well, which was called She's Back. 6 months after their debut, Infinite came back with their second EP, Evolution, which featured the epic song Before the Dawn. And just 2 months later, the boys released yet another single called Nothing's Over. In just 9 months, the group had already promoted 5 different singles, an impressive feat. But unfortunately, there was a very, very serious problem lurking behind the scenes. The thing is, for us in 2020, we all know Woollim as a pretty big label with several other popular artists like Lovelyz, Golden Child, and Rocket Punch. But back in 2010, Woollim was actually a really small label and Infinite was their only group. All of their eggs were in that one boy group basket. In fact, even for their debut, the budget was really tight. So much so that in the MV for Infinite's debut song Come Back Again, the house featured in the video is actually the house of Woollim's CEO, Lee Jung-yup. To save on filming costs, the CEO let the group use his personal space for a set. And unfortunately, the fact of the matter is that Infinite did not do well commercially in their first year. Their debut song did not even break into the top 100 on the music charts, which in 2010 was a really bad sign because there just weren't that many releases coming out in short periods of time back then. And their subsequent releases, though they did better, did not achieve any type of commercial success. Infinite was struggling, and Woollim found themselves on the brink of disaster after losing significant money on the group in its first year. Just how bad was the financial picture? Well, Woollim's CEO, after already having loaned his house as a set for filming in the debut MV, actually sold his house for enough money to cover producing Infinite's next album. His message to the group was simple: this is your last chance. There's simply no more money left. If the group fails with their next comeback, they would be over, and so would Woollim Entertainment. I think it goes without saying that this put an unbelievable amount of pressure on the boys. They would be dancing and singing for their lives, and if they didn't succeed, their dreams would be over. On July 21st, Infinite made their comeback with the first studio album, Over the Top, and its title track, Be Mine. The song and the MV had an intense sound with a heavy focus on choreography and emotion. On September 1st, Infinite performed Be Mine on M Countdown, going up against Risong and legendary girl group Sistar. With their careers on the line, Infinite awaited the totals for each category. It was a hard-fought battle, but Infinite took their first ever music show win. They would go on to earn a double crown after winning the week after as well. The album made it all the way to number 2 on the charts, and Be Mine had over 2.1 million digital single sales. Infinite had pulled off the unthinkable, saving themselves from disbanding and their label from bankruptcy. Think about it for a second. 842 less points and Sistar wins instead. 842 less points and Woollim likely ceases to exist. 842 less points and we never get Lovelyz, Golden Child, Rocket Punch, or Drippin'. It's absolutely incredible, if not a bit terrifying, to think about how close Infinite came to disbanding before saving things in the nick of time. And with those 2 music show wins and a brand new lease on their musical careers, Infinite did not look back at all. By the end of September, Infinite had already released a repackage of the album with a new title track, Paradise, for which they won another 2 music shows on Inkigayo and M Countdown. And if anyone was still looking for a surefire sign that the boys were out of the woods, their foray into Japan would prove to be just that. You see, Infinite released a Japanese single, Todawa, which was a Japanese version of their debut song, on January 26th of 2012. Even though this wasn't an official debut in Japan, it still became super popular, sending their Evolution EP to number 3 on the real-time sales charts. Todawa also became the most downloaded K-pop ringtone in Japan. Realizing that they had hit on a huge opportunity, Infinite went on to release 3 more singles before their official Japanese debut on November 19th of that year, with the Japanese version of Before the Dawn. Infinite capitalized on their newfound success in a big way when they held their 2012 concerts in Korea and Japan, and they subsequently released their second Japanese single album, which peaked all the way up at number 2 on Oricon's charts. The boys cemented their place among popular boy groups with the album Infinitized, which obliterated the group's sales records for an album. Why? Because this album's title track is the iconic masterpiece, The Chaser. This song is absolutely incredible, and it achieved a triple crown on M Countdown, and at the end of 2012, Billboard named it the number 1 K-pop song of the year. By 2013, Infinite had found their rhythm and were enjoying all the perks that came with becoming a superstar K-pop group. When they had their comeback with the song Man in Love, they took another 7 music show wins. When they released their debut Japanese album, it sold incredibly well and took the number 1 spot on the Oricon charts. And when they went on their One Great Step tour, it wasn't just in Seoul and Tokyo this time, it was in 22 cities across the world. After all of their hard work in their early years, Infinite were now very successful and continuously one-upping themselves. They were the first Korean artist to hit number 1 on Billboard's Twitter Emerging Artists chart, reaching that height thanks to their incredible song Last Romeo. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the various solo outings of the members too. After all, when I counted down my ultimate biases among boy idols, Kim Sung-gyu took the coveted number 1 spot. Unfortunately, in the summer of 2017, Hoya did not renew his contract, leaving Infinite as a 6-member group. Nevertheless, Infinite kept on rolling with the fantastic release Tell Me and its album Top Seed. In 2019, L's contract with Woollim also expired, however he still considers himself part of the group. With the majority of the group currently carrying out their military service, Infinite is on an unofficial hiatus, but I have every reason to believe that these boys will be back at it as soon as they can. So what should we take away from the story of Infinite? In my view, the story of Infinite is one that is equal parts harrowing and rewarding. It's the story of a CEO who literally put his own livelihood on the line to give the group one final chance before going bankrupt. Infinite seized that opportunity and succeeded when failure would have meant not just disbandment but the end of an entire agency. Despite unbelievable amounts of pressure on their shoulders, the 7 boys delivered their absolute best and kicked off years and years of illustrious success. When you watch one of their MVs, you're looking at a group that deserves 100% of the success that they've achieved. When they had their backs against the wall, they pushed through and became a superstar boy group with an iconic discography. And by pushing through, they saved Woollim Entertainment from disaster, giving every single group that has come after them a future that quite simply would not have existed without their hard work. So, when you listen to the latest Lovelyz comeback, or you enjoy Drippin's debut, remember who paved the way for them to even exist in the first place: boy group Infinite. I hope you guys enjoyed learning about Infinite's incredible story and just how close we came to losing a label that has gone on to give us so many wonderful boy groups and girl groups. Thank you so much for watching this deep dive, and if you did enjoy, be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on more stories like this from the world of K-pop. This has been Deep Dive number 27, Infinite.